everybody. Welcome to all you folks joining and watching live on Facebook, and also for everybody catching up after the event. Welcome from wherever in the world you happen to be right now. And I am here right now with the lovely Claire, who is the Gentle Sleep Coach. Claire, would you just like to start by introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about you, where you live?
Yes,
all of that.
So I'm Claire. I am a mum to two, almost three. We've got like 8 weeks left. Got 2 boys. We're expecting a girl, which is so exciting. We live in Sydney, in Australia. Married to Josh. We've been together for since I was 15, so more than half my life, which is really cool. And yeah, really, that's pretty much.
Amazing. So you've got 2, almost 3 little tiny people in your life. Now, obviously that means you know something about sleep and sleeplessness and all of that stuff, but tell me how you came into this funny old world of sleep coaching.
Goodness, it's been a journey. So Oscar, who is now nearly 5, he's my eldest, he is a highly sensitive little guy. He's an orchid, so quite naturally had a really difficult time with sleep to start with. And at the time, Instagram was kind of, well, it was a thing, but it wasn't like it was now. There were like maybe 2 sleep people that kind of filtered their way in. And in Australia, I think pretty much they were all that was there. So I reached out for support with one of them, who had said they're really gentle and responsive and holistic and like all of the words, and tried to work with them for all of 2 days, which was a disaster. And I guess from there, I just felt really deflated and defeated. And I was like, well, like, what are we going to do? Continued on, had my second, they're 18 months apart later. And at that time, there were a few different people that were kind of showing up, like Care It Out was there. And these different pages that started to kind of pop on in. And I was like, this is more my vibe. Like, this is where I want to go. And at the time, honestly, I was just so fascinated by sleep that I was like, I just want to learn more about this. I never thought it would be a business at all. I literally thought, I'll help my friends. I'll have all this information. I'm on maternity leave. Like, I don't really have it would be nice to sink my teeth into something while I'm doing that. So I, just decided to jump on in. Unfortunately, into a course that also said all of those words, but was not at all any of the things. But regardless, I think I loved a certain aspect of it. I don't know what it was. I was like, this is my thing. Like, I love this. This is not the right fit and not what I wanted and not what I agree with. Love this. So then I just kind of kept digging my way into different courses until we landed in yours, which is pretty much what's led us here.
Yeah, amazing. So, I mean, you'd already done lots of sleep courses. What was it? I mean, that must have been quite the leap of faith to go, I've done lots of courses, I've spent lots of money on this already. What made you think, no, but you know what, I am gonna do this? Like, I don't think this is a crock of you know what this time.
You know what it was? It was like right from the start, I started working with families and I felt like I was fumbling. Does that make sense? Like, I thought that I had really shonky basis for where I was working from. I knew I didn't align with the stuff that I'd learned. I was trying to piece together my own way to make that not be the way that it was. And I just felt yuck. And I was like, nah, like, I'm not confident what I'm doing. I'm not confident what I'm saying. I don't agree with anything I've learned. Like, I have to do more, which led to another one, which really quickly revealed itself to be the same. And I was like, damn it, that's such a waste. Then I stumbled my way into a third, that was very strategically marketed as not at all sleep training. And I was like, this is what I want. Like, this is what I've been looking for. Kind of being new to the sleep world from my own personal journey. Like, I honestly just hadn't heard of it before. And maybe it's the demographic of Australia, but when you Google like holistic sleep courses or gentle sleep train, like whatever it is, the word not training as in sleep training, but the training places.
Yeah.
It's only two that come up were these two. So I really took some digging, and I did that course and I loved it, but I still just felt like I didn't have the meat. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it was really helpful in terms of what I aligned with, in terms of what's normal for babies and things that we can do to help support sleep without sleep training. But I still was like, yeah, but where, like when a client says to me, but why do I do X, Y, Z, or why is this happening? I felt like I could talk to them about different theories, but I didn't have the confidence to back myself. And I was like, I really just want evidence-based information. Like that's really what I want at this stage. I actually slid into your DMs and I was like, I don't know if you'll ever reply, but this is the journey I've been on. These are the courses I've done. And I'm so hesitant. You suggested I did the mini course just to kind of get a feel, which I did. And I was like, that's what I want. This is what I was hoping for a year and a half ago. Like that's what I kind of need. So then I sat on it for a couple of months, saved up a little bit and was like, what's one more? We'll just go for it and hope for the best. And I was so happy that I did, because it was absolutely everything that I was hoping. All the other ones were, and then some more. So it's been great.
Well, yeah. we've loved having you, but if you can, it sounds like you were almost trying to kind of fill the gap on your own between your own philosophy and your own kind of feelings around how sleep and parenting could align.
Yes.
Feeling like the strategies and tools you'd learned about didn't mesh. So you were trying to kind of sit in this really awkward space in the middle without actually having the practical strategies and understanding and underpinning theory to do
exactly.
So. Does that sound right?
It does. And I kind of felt like a bit of a fraud, because I was like saying all of this and I was trying to get there, but I was like, oh, but I know that I'm not fully confident in what I'm saying, because I haven't really actually fully learned that. Like, it's just like what you're saying, bits and pieces you've pieced together, read some wonderful books. And again, just kind of meshed it all and was like, I want all of this, but this is what I've learned. Like, how do we, so it really was like, a game changer to do like this.
If you think back over your journey, like what were the kind of sort of tactics or specific things do you think that you've learned that have made a real difference in your work that's led to your own success? Like what is it that you've learned
in this course? So I think firstly, always at the back of my mind when there were like tricky situations would be all of the indoctrination that I'd had from these other courses, like, oh, it's because they need to self-settle. It's because they're doing this and that, and that's what needs to go. And I fundamentally didn't agree with it, but it was still always like, but why? Like, why is that not important? And I think that was a really big one for me, was actually getting confidence from what I'd learned from your course to be like, no, like absolutely not. And these are the reasons why. And these are things that we can actually do instead that will make a difference. And none of them mean that you have to do anything that you're uncomfortable with. So things like that, like I really didn't feel any confidence to back myself. Even if I believed it, I didn't feel like I had the knowledge completely to really, in a consultation setting, go, no, like these are the reasons why, if that makes sense. So that was
total sense.
Yeah. And also just I felt like in a lot of consults, I'd give some information or advice, like let's use biological sleep windows seemed to come up a lot at the time. And I'd be talking about like, we can work with sleep pressure and let's extend this wake time and move it to here. And I'd come up a lot with, but what about like the 12 till 2 nap? Like, what about that? And I felt like, like I know that doesn't make any sense at all, but I couldn't put words to why, in a way, at least that was confident to actually go, no, like, I know you've heard that and I totally get why you'd think that. These are the reasons why. That's probably not necessary at all. But these are the reasons why what I'm suggesting might actually be helpful, and to be able to thoroughly explain that and then answer questions and then be confident in my response. So that was another one. I think the marketing side of it as well, and actually what I'm putting out on social media and the way that I'm kind of doing it, and knowing like who my ideal person is that I'm trying to talk to has been really helpful too. They'd probably be the three main things I'd say.
Yeah, amazing. So it sounds almost like you needed to understand what the mainstream narratives and myths were, and you had a really good grasp of that anyway. But actually, it was about understanding the evidence-based reasons why they weren't true. But
100%.
beyond that, it was not only can I confidently tell you that they're not true, but I also have an alternative paradigm for you. And not only do I have an alternative paradigm, but I also have a solution now as well. And I've got a way to go.
Yeah.
And that's so freeing, isn't it? As a professional, to feel like, I know what I'm talking about, actually.
100%. Yeah.
And you mentioned your social media. You've done extremely well, haven't you? You've got nearly 70,000 followers and people who
honestly, it's a mystery.
Yeah, amazing. So tell me about your business and what it looks like and what it's enabled you to do, because that's pretty incredible.
It is. So like right at the start, I honestly thought it would go nowhere. Like my expectations were below zero. I was like, nah, like this, I'm really interested. It'd be great. Maybe it'll get us like, you know, a bit of wiggle room in the budget for like a coffee every now and again, or like, you know, something like that. I never expected it to go anywhere. But it kind of did, like pretty much from the start, which is I think where I then started to get overwhelmed, because I was like, oh, like wasn't prepared for this. Don't feel like I have the tools, knowledge, structures, anything at all. And then from there, it was a lot of fumbling, I think, around trying to work out like how to structure support, how to create offerings, how to kind of meet that need and kind of keep it, I guess, progressing. And yeah, since then, it's been a big journey. And what I loved about your course as well was the marketing aspect, all of the coaching that came alongside with that as well, all the information that was in their structures, which was awesome. And I basically now have it to a place where we have like a broad variety of different things that we offer. So I have 3 other sleep consultants who work alongside me. One who does like matrescent support, another one who's done the holistic sleep coaching program as well, another one who's done another sleep coaching program, and we all kind of work together as a team just to balance the one-on-one client load, which is awesome. But then on top of that, I do group coaching. I have some self-paced courses and webinars. We have guides. So kind of different avenues and different funnels, depending on what people need. I don't know, like I feel like sometimes people kind of just want something, but they don't need everything, but then they get that little bit of something, but it can lead them to other things. So structures around that as well have been really helpful. And yeah, it's become more than a full-time job, which is a good problem to have, and kind of swap from being like a dream to like a bit of a hobby to way too much and overwhelming to now getting to a place where I'm like, okay, like I have my feet, I have a team, I have some structures and systems in place. And now this is actually maintainable around what I need out of life as well.
Yeah, that is amazing. And it just sounds like, you know, not only have you been on a journey in terms of learning, but you've also been on a journey in terms of learning how to be a businesswoman and an entrepreneur. And, you know, of course, at the heart of it as well, it's not just about having a career that pays the bills and gives you financial freedom, but actually you clearly love what you do as well, right?
Yeah, I really do. And it's so cool, like to have something that you love become something that actually supports like your whole family. And for us, it's like totally transformed our whole lives. Like we went from being in really tricky spots and like moving states to like have some more affordability, because Sydney is just insane, to being able to come back and buy a house. And Josh Moore now takes on the role of like looking after the kids a little bit more, which is great. And obviously that's going to change with the new baby, but then actually having flexibility to change that, as opposed to where I was with Oscar and Theo, is just insane. We were talking about that last week. And I was like, I remember being so stressed about like maternity leave, like what it's going to look like coming back, and to have something that you can go, oh, you know what, like this is what I can kind of do right now, and I can make it at the time that works for me. in a way that we need is amazing. And like, I can't believe it, the turnaround in just like such a short period of time.
Amazing. Well, we are so proud of you. What do you think the biggest mindset shift for you has been over this whole journey?
Yeah, I would say mine has definitely been confidence. Absolutely. And knowing what I'm about, really, truly what I'm about, and then actually being okay to back myself with that has been the biggest game changer. Even just like on a personal level, like the way that I feel going into consults, the way that I feel working with clients, the way that I feel signing them off is completely different to how I felt pre this course. And that's just been a game changer for me, because there's nothing worse than loving what you do, actually think you do a pretty okay job, but not actually having the confidence to go alongside of it, and kind of just feeling like you're second guessing yourself a lot, which is where I was before. And yeah, that has completely gone, which has been a good outcome.
Oh, it's so good to hear. And I think that comes from, you know, like putting some meat on the bones, doesn't it? Like you can know some of the theory, but unless you've really got some tools in your toolbox, that can make you feel like an imposter, can't it? And you go into the consult like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I hear what you're saying, but I can't help you, right?
Exactly. And I was always nervous about like, what are they going to ask me? And like, what if I don't know it off the top of my head? Or like, what if I don't have confidence in that answer? And there'd be scenarios where I was like, no, I know that this is true, but I wouldn't feel that confidence, and I'd feel myself fumbling, and I hated it. Like, it was just, I felt bad. I don't know. I felt like, oh, like I can't charge them if I can't even hold the conversation properly without second guessing. The course has been great for that. And your coaching calls for that were awesome as well. I remember right at the start, I'd jump on most of them and just ask you these things. Like, I think I remember chatting to you once about like, okay, like, I hate the idea of pick up, put down. I had a horrible situation with that, but I just had a client say, but what's the difference between hugging them and supporting them and then putting them in the cot? Is that not what just we're doing with pick up, put down? I remember having a good chat with you about it. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like all the things that we chatted about was like all what I was feeling that I just hadn't unpacked enough, and things like that. And being able to actually jump on with you and go like, hey, like this person's asked me this. And honestly, like, I know that I don't want them to think that we're doing that. I'd never align with that, but why is it different? Like, what is going on there? And being able to kind of unpack that with you in like the early days, especially, was awesome.
Yeah, I think supervision is so important, isn't it? To kind of bounce ideas around, and not just with me as well, but with other people on the call as well, and people who go, oh yeah, I've heard that, or I've had a client who brought this up, or whatever. It's just it's really
so good, because it can be a lonely job sometimes as well, like if you're just working alone and you don't have those people to bounce off. But the group is awesome for that. Like even recently, I think it was like a month or two ago, had a really tricky situation with a client who was feeling like they were having like a 6-hour split night. And it was before I even had the call, but I kind of troubleshot like a few different things with them, and all the basic ones that you'd think about. And I was like, oh, they've kind of done all of that. And I was like, how could they be having a 6-hour split night if they've done all that? And I kind of dug into everything, and I jumped onto the group and the call with the group, and everybody was kind of just like, there's no way that kid is awake for 6 hours, or the parents are awake to even know they're awake for 6 hours, which actually ended up being the solution. But I would have never had confidence to think along that line, or to go like, are they actually awake? Like, have we thought about sleep totals and how it's potentially impossible for them to both be awake for that length of time? And it seems so basic, but again, it was just bouncing off people. So having that capacity is awesome.
That's amazing. And just to kind of like wrap this up and bring it full circle, you're expecting number 3, like on a personal level, how do you feel differently about going into this new baby and sleep and everything else this time around?
So much different. I'm so excited for it. I feel like Oscar was just, I'm so sad when I think back to my experience with him and for my own experience. And it was tricky with Theo because I felt like I had kind of shifted a lot, but not fully. So He was a much easier going baby, but I remember still feeling like I had to put him down and being really worried from my experience with Oscar. Like, if, oh goodness, I remember him being like 3 weeks old and being like, if I don't try to put him down now, like I'm really worried that I'm going to have an 18-month-old and a barnacle baby who I can never make any changes. So that kind of pressure was really gross for me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, with so much more understanding now, like I'm so excited for all the contact naps. All of this free naps, like being able to just, you know, not feel like I have to be in a dark room with this baby for God knows why, like no reason at all, really, when you break it down. But I fundamentally felt like I had to. Having a better understanding of what's normal for nights, I'm actually excited for it. I've set up, like, we're going to set up like a safe bed sharing place because I actually know more about things like that now. And I feel like it's going to be a completely different experience, and I'm so excited for it and feel no stress at all about their sleep journey, even if it's hard. Like, I'm like, oh, great, well, whatever. We've got so many practical tools and much more understanding. And on a personal level, that's so cool for me and so freeing from where I was. Yeah.
Amazing. And you've also got, you know, the things you've set up in your business so that your income is protected, right? While you're
time off. Yes, this is going to be the biggest game changer. Income's protected. There's systems in place to kind of maintain the business whilst I'm taking a break as well. And then being able to kind of dictate like when I feel like I want to come back, rather than having a really inflexible workplace who may not be the best with things like that. Not having any flexibility with that return, like not really having any buffer at all whilst on leave, things like that. I'm like, wow, again, going into like maternity leave with no stress, really. Well, a small amount of stress about, oh, like it's going to be maybe initially like a bit of a shock to the system, but there's passive income, there's structures, and when I come back, it can be exactly how I want and need it to be.
Amazing. Well, you have been on such a journey. Do you have one piece of advice for anybody who is thinking, oh, you know, can I do this? Is it within my reach? Can I make this happen? Have I got what it takes to make this kind of career for myself? What would be your one tip?
Oh, go for it. Absolutely go for it. It's the best thing that I have done. And again, I'm still constantly shocked that it's actually worked out, but I did nothing special. I really didn't. And that just gives me full confidence that anybody who is actually genuinely passionate about this can also do the same. And yeah, I think back to my fence sitting, and I sat on the fence for a long time and was like, oh, but like, how will I juggle it? Will it be worth it? What will my friends think? Will it be embarrassing? All of that different stuff. And I'm like, goodness, I just wish I had more confidence to jump in like 6 months prior. That would have been a game changer even as well. And yeah, if you love it, if you're interested in it, there's nothing to lose, but everything to gain.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking time out. I know it is not the same time over in Australia right now, so you are probably needing to go to bed.
It's actually only 8:30. It's not too late.
Okay. Amazing. Well, thank you. And you are doing amazing things in Australia. Thank you for doing all of your incredible work. And would you just like to finish by telling folks how they can find you, how they can come and lurk and
absolutely lurk into the DMs. My handle is just at The Gentle Sleep Coach. Super easy, predominantly on Instagram. Do have the other ones that I neglect thoroughly. So pretty much over there.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Claire. It has been lovely talking to you. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up for today, but thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody for watching, and we hope to connect with you really soon. Bye, everybody.